I'd like to give sort of my honest assessment of this offense because it's a little rough around the edges. And this is Kyle's offense. This is his baby. So I'd like to talk about it. Real quick. And if you have any questions, if you think I'm being too easy or harsh, let me know. Today it looked good. I think it was manufactured. They took out some starters from the defense. When it's all the starters in the defense against all the starters in the offense, the defense is better. And so is this cause for alarm? Maybe, maybe not. The defense is top 3 in the league. And in practice, it's very much passing oriented. When they do a run play, it's hard to tell if it's a good one or a bad one because there's no tackling. If it's a pass play, you know exactly if it worked or not. Pass is complete. It's not. It's intercepted. You can tell. And it's great. Like, this passing game is definitely not great, but at all. It's not great. But I think it's important to remember that they're going to run the ball a lot. Their identity is to run the ball a lot. And they're just sort of leaning into their identity more is the way I see it. I think when the season starts and they start game planning, we're going to see a million different ways to run the ball. And maybe 20 throws a game. Maybe that's not how you envision the championship team looking, but that's what they did with Jimmy anyway, especially in the playoffs. Let's run the ball as much as possible. And so I think to that end, they'll be better at accomplishing that, the running. I don't know what the passing will look like, but I know that they'll have some deep throws here and there. And I don't know what it'll look like on third down. He probably will improve as the year goes on as a passer. But I do think this team could set the franchise record for rushing yards.
I have a question.
Yes.
The offensive line, which is still a question mark.
Yes.
Especially in pass protection. How is it as a run blocking offensive line?
Trent Williams is great. Mike McGlinchey's good. The other 3 guys are total unknowns. The left guard didn't play last year. The right guard's a rookie. The center is a 29-year-old rookie. I mean, he hasn't played. So I guess we'll see in the preseason. So, but they still have Trent Williams. They still have Juszczyk, Kittle. They still have Kyle. I mean, they have things they can do.
But what I want to say is one thing that I find fascinating is the offensive line and the quarterback are both, I'm going to say, kind of unknowns. They're kind of unknowns today. And it's hard to say how good the offense is going to be without knowing those 2 factors.
Yeah. You have to learn like how bad the weak spots in the offense are before you can figure out what you can do.
Yeah. I mean, Iggy, if the offensive line really does come together, and if this kid is a B+ or an A- quarterback, that's a hell of a team.
It is.
That could be a Super Bowl team. But Iggy, I can't say, and in a way, I don't think you can say until we know what the offensive line is like and what the quarterback is like.
And we haven't seen Kyle game plan for this particular roster. But I'll give you an example. So in training camp, they'll just cycle through plays and they'll do a lot of passing, a lot of drop back passing using the shotgun throw. And it can look good, it can look bad. All of a sudden, they do a drill where it's like they're up 3, 2 minutes left. You're at the 35, and it's like a game without tackling. All of a sudden, the play calling's different. The first play in this period today, zone read, 65-yard touchdown run on the left side. And the next play, another zone read. So I have a feeling when the game's actually going, it's going to be very little passing. See if it works. But they've won that way in the past.
Absolutely. They have a great run game. And one thing I like about Shanahan, his ego doesn't get in the way, so he feels, I have to show I'm brilliant with a lot of passes. He's content is the wrong word, but he's content to run it, which is less sexy, less glamorous, but you win. And I admire that.
The way that he schemes up the run game is pretty sexy and glamorous. I mean, he's got a lot going on, and he gets a lot of credit for it. I think he even takes pride in everyone else makes their money with the pass game. Look what I can do in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be even more extreme this year because there's only so much you can do in the run game when the quarterback isn't involved and doesn't do play action. Now you have this whole element of misdirection involving the quarterback. Will he keep it and throw? Will he keep it and run? I don't know. And that uncertainty should help everyone else.
And when you have a really strong running game that can power you and the defense can't stop you, everything else on offense is open to you. The minute that happens, the passing game, everything else is open to you. It's the
Yep.
key, and he sees that key.
And I think it's nice that instead of throwing him in and saying, hey, Trey, lead the team with your arm, they're going to say, you are a complimentary piece on this team. Hand off. And if you do well with that, we'll put a little bit more on your plate. Eventually, one day, he could become a Pro Bowl quarterback. But they're not going to expect that of him right away. They're going to say, don't mess up. Don't throw any picks. Scramble. Hand off. If it's wide open, hit it. And if you do well with that, then we'll go from there. That's sort of how the Seahawks handled Russell Wilson at first. I think it's a smart way to handle a young athlete at the position.
Sounds fair to me.
Yeah.
Sounds. I'm expecting or desiring that he's like a finished product in game one, but that's unrealistic. I understand, and I can be grumpy sometimes.
Fair. I think it's just, I guess what I'm trying to say is the offense, I think, looks worse now than it will during the season. I think during the season, we should, if the offensive line holds up, we should see a run game that's probably the best one Kyle's had here. How about that?
I love it. I love it.
How about that? And remember, look, Kaepernick wasn't a better quarterback than Alex Smith, but the offense was more dangerous with him because just the run game itself, they're a run-first team. All of a sudden, the run game was better with Kaepernick on the field. I think we're going to see a little bit of that effect with this offense. Yards per carry go up. We'll see.
Sounds fair to me.
Dad, I'm schwitzing.
Okay. Let's sign off. I'll call you in a minute.
Let me make sure there's no one else that had something to say. I don't think so. If the Niners miss the playoffs, will Kyle get fired? No.
Okay, I love it. Could we stay here a second?
Yeah.
If they miss the playoffs, I don't think he'll get fired, but I'd fire him.
Whew.
I would. If they miss the playoffs, with the
biggest reason not to fire Kyle Shanahan.
Huh?
Biggest reason not to fire Kyle Shanahan. Not to give Trey Lance another offense to learn. Remember they did that with Alex Smith?
Got it. Okay.
It's tricky. But look, if he misses the playoffs, boom, hot seat. Better make it next year.
Okay.
Better make it next year, bud. I mean, I think it's either, look, Jed won't fire him. You might, but I think even Jed would have to acknowledge if he misses the playoffs again, you're on the hot seat. You can't make the playoffs once every 3 years, Kyle.
What's the hot seat?
I don't know.
Your
seat just spontaneously combusts. Callie says, seems as if there isn't a gray area with Kyle. He wins, great coach. Doesn't win, bust and should be replaced.
Okay. If he doesn't make the playoffs, if I was still writing columns and he didn't make the playoffs, I'd put him on the hot seat.
I'm putting him on the hot seat right now. Whatever that means.
Whatever that means.
All right. Oh, hold on. Last one, and then the show's over. Daniel Kelly in the comments calling Lance a bust. My question is, considering he's a former scout, can we call him a bust? Daniel Kelly is a bust. Hey, man, Daniel Kelly's entitled to his opinion. No one knows about Lance. We'll find out soon enough. He had a good day today. He was awful the other day. And talking about it this morning, Kyle didn't seem particularly enthusiastic. Jack Cameron was like, so what's your assessment of Trey in camp? And Kyle's like, some good, some bad. The interception's got to stop. The one a couple of days ago was unacceptable. It's like, okay. All right. Well, Trey got the message. He did better today. We'll see how he does tomorrow.